An important consideration in being able to recover from any type of business interruption is to understand the value of our data. This is usually calculated using then the Recovery Point Objective, or RPO. The RPO really indicates what is the acceptable amount of data loss. How much data could we lose without having too great an impact on the organization? Now, the result of this, of course, is that it determines how often should we back up our data, as well as the type of backup we're going to use. If I'm going to back up onto tape, well, that might mean an extended amount of time to rebuild the data if we have some type of an outage. If I'm only going to back up once a day, I could lose a lot of data. Well, what is the volatility of my data? How much does it change from one day to the next? So we have to understand the business needs. What data do they need in order to be able to operate, so that we can then determine the type of backup we'll use, as well as the type of backup media. Now, the other important term here is the Recovery Time Objective, or RTO. The RTO is based on what is the acceptable downtime in case of a failure. How long can our business be interrupted before we're going to start really losing serious money? So this is the point at which we state that our business must recover. We set an RTO that says this is the point by which we'll recover. Now, hopefully that's well before the business would actually be completely non-survivable, we can say. The problem is that, yes, we could recover instantly, have everything duplicated, but that's an awful lot of money. We can say here, for the most part, the shorter my recovery time, the higher the cost of the recovery. So usually we're going to find a balance. Well, we could have an outage of a certain acceptable length of time, because we know that that is going to still be a reasonable amount of loss, as of course being able to be back into service again. If I have very short recovery time objectives and very short recovery point objectives, I'm going to have to do things like data mirroring. I can't just be backing up once an hour. If my RTO is such that I have to recover within minutes, then I have to have some type of online data access, such as through data mirroring. We might have a hot site that we can cut over instantly if we have, say, multiple processing centers or even a mirrored site, so that we have our data out there and we can be up and running at that site maybe in just a couple of minutes. That means we should be doing replication in real time. Every time I make a change at my primary site, it's being replicated out at the alternate site as well. That means if I had a catastrophic outage of the primary site, the only data I may lose is the data that's in process, or the transaction that's in process at the time of the failure. Everything else has already been written and replicated out to the alternate site, and hopefully we'll be able to be up and running then within a very short period of time. This, of course, also means that we've got to invest in redundant equipment. If we have critical services that we must keep running, these are pretty much the options that we have to explore. But what's some of the other terminology we use here? We have the term the interruption window. Really, how long can it be from the time that a product or service is not available until we've recovered it? And that's, of course, that length of time that we're looking at and saying, what is going to be the impact on our customers? What's going to be the impact on us financially if we have an outage of an hour, 4 hours, 8 hours, and so on? We also realize that when we try to recover, you're not going to recover everything. You're going to recover to a certain level of service that is enough to keep your customers happy, but other things, should we say non-essential processes, probably won't be recovered, at least not in the short term. And so this is what we'll call then our service delivery objective. We set out the level of services that will be restored at the alternate site or via an alternate process. We're really taking here a look at what is that level of service we'll provide in the event of a disaster.